It's time for us to read our passage, MD equals a moody day, from the book Judy Moody, MD, The Doctor is In by Megan McDonald. As we're reading our passage, we're going to stop and gist. Sometimes I'll give you the gist, and other times I'll ask you to try your best and come up with the gist of the section we just read. Don't forget, you have two thinking jobs, which is to look and listen to the words I'm reading and to notice what the author is teaching you, if it's about something or someone. Let's go ahead and start. Plip! Judy Moody woke up. Drip, drip, drip went rain on the roof. Blip, blip, blip went drops on the window. Not again. It had been raining for 7 days straight. Boring. She, Judy Moody, was sick and tired of rain. Judy put her head under the pillow. If only she was sick. Being sick was the greatest. You got to stay home and drink pop for breakfast and eat toast cut in special strips and watch TV in your room. You got to read Cherry Ames, a student nurse, mysteries all day. And you got to eat yummy cherry cough drops. Hey, maybe Cherry Ames was named after a cough drop. Judy took out her mom's old Cherry Ames book and popped a cough drop in her mouth anyway. Get up, lazy bones, said Stink, knocking on her door. Can't, said Judy. Too much rain. What? Never mind, just go to school without me. Mom, Judy's skipping school, Stink yelled. Mom came into Judy's room. Judy, honey, what's wrong? I'm sick of rain, she whispered to Mouse. Let's stop there and let's say a gist of what we just read. Remember, a gist is a short retelling of the text. So the gist of these last two sections we just read is that Judy is sick of the rain and she wants to stay home sick instead of going to school. Let's see what happens next. Sick? What's wrong? What hurts? Asked Mom. My head, for one thing, from all that noisy rain. You have a headache? Yes, and a sore throat, and a fever, and a stiff neck. That's from sleeping with the dictionary under your pillow, said Stink, to ace your spelling test. It's not. Is too. See, look, my tongue's all red. Judy stuck out her Cherry Ames cough drop tongue at Stink. Mom felt Judy's head. You don't seem to have a fever. Faker, said Stink. Come back in 5 minutes, said Judy. I'll have a fever by then. Faker, 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 said Stink. If only she had measles, or chicken pox, or mumps. Mumps gave you a headache. Mumps gave you a stiff neck and a sore throat. Mumps made your cheeks stick out like Humpty Dumpty. Judy pushed the cough drop into her cheek and made it stick out, Humpty Dumpty style. Mumps, said Dr. Judy. I think I have the mumps, for real. Mumps, said Stink. No way. You got a shot for that. A no mumps shot. We both did, didn't we, Mom? Yes, said Mom. Stink's right. Let's pause there because we are talking about measles and chickenpox and mumps, and those are some diseases that cause people to get sick and different kinds of dots all over their body. And like Judy said, that they can give you things like a sore throat or a stiff neck or make your cheeks swell up and big and really big. But now that we know what Judy is talking about when she talks about mumps, let's go ahead and talk about the gist for the last few paragraphs we read. These paragraphs are all about Judy telling her mom that she's sick and that a lot of things are wrong with her. Let's go ahead and find out what happens next. Maybe one mump got through. Sounds like somebody doesn't want to go to school today, said Mom. Can I stay home, Mom? I promise I'll be sick all day. Let's take your temperature, said Mom. She took the thermometer out of the case. Cat hair? Said Mom. Is this cat hair on the thermometer? She's always making Mouse stick out her tongue and taking the cat's temperature, said Stink. Mom shook her head and went to wash off the thermometer. When she came back, she took Judy's temperature. It's 98.6, said Mom. Normal. Faker fakey, not sick, big fat faker, said Stink. At least my temperature's normal, said Judy, even if my brother isn't. Let's pause there, and I want you to try your best and write down a gist for paragraphs 28 to 36. Remember, a gist is a short retelling of the text. Thank you for trying your best and writing a gist. Take a look at mine. My gist is that Mom takes her temperature and it's normal. Let's go ahead and finish our passage. Better get dressed, said Mom. Don't want to be late. Stink, you're a rat fink. Stink, rat, fink, moody. That's what I'll call you from now on. Well, you'll have to call me it at school, 'cause you don't get to stay home. Judy stuck out her cherry red, no mumps tongue at Stink. She was down in the dumps. She had a bad case of the grumps. The no mumps, moody Monday blues. She, Judy Moody, felt like Mumpty Dumpty. Mumpty Dumpty without a temperature, that is. Let's go ahead and look at what Judy is looking like at the end of our passage. She is grumpy, and when you're grumpy, you are in a bad mood. She is not happy. She didn't get to stay home from school. And it looks like she has Monday blues. And when you might have experienced Monday blues. Monday blues is when you're sad that it's finally Monday and you don't have the weekend anymore. So Judy Moody is in a bad mood because her mom doesn't believe she's sick and needs to go to school. So now that we read the passage, let's go ahead and think of what the entire text was about. So let's go ahead and try your best to write a gist of the text, of the whole text. Remember, a gist is a short retelling of the text. The gist of the text that I wrote is that Judy Moody woke up in a bad mood and wishing she was sick. She wanted to stay home from school and be sick all day. So now that we know a short retelling of what we read, let's go ahead and find the main idea. Remember, when we find the main idea, there are 3 steps. The first step is to know your topic, which is to know, are we learning about something or someone? Then we're going to find clues of ideas that are being repeated over and over. And then we're going to put it all together. What does the author want us to learn? Now, finding the main idea is really important when we are reading a test passage. A lot of times, some of the test questions are going to be about the main idea. Finding the main idea after you read is going to be super helpful when you're answering your test questions. So let's go ahead and find the main idea right now since we just read the passage. So first step is, are we learning about someone or something? You're right, we're learning about someone. But who are we learning about? We're learning about Judy. So now that we've done step 1, we've learned that our topic is Judy. We can now move on to step 2. What ideas are being talked about? So I went ahead and put some sections of our passage, and I've already underlined it. But I want us to take a look at what kind of ideas are being talked about over and over again. Take a look at this first one. Judy Moody was sick and tired of rain. I went ahead and underlined these 2 because it sounds like we're going to read a lot about sick and rain. We also see the rain up here at the very beginning of the passage. I also see that she's mentioning that only she was sick. Being sick was the greatest. And then she talks more about what it's like to be sick. In the rest of the passage, we see the words rain again. On paragraph 11, she says, I'm sick of rain. We keep seeing the word sick and we keep seeing the words rain. She keeps mentioning she's sick. What's wrong? She says, noisy rain. You have a headache. Sore throat, fever, stiff neck. That sounds like things that happen to you when you're sick. She even asks her mom to stay home because she'll be sick all day. There's talks of temperature, there's talks of thermometers. That lets me know they're sick. So, some of the ideas that are being talked about over and over are the ideas of being sick and the symptoms you have when you're sick, and also being sick of the rain, that it's raining a lot and she doesn't want it to rain. So now that we know that, we are learning about Judy, and we're learning about Judy wanting to be sick and her not wanting the rain, let's go ahead and find what the author is trying to teach us about the topic. So, what is the author trying to teach you about the topic? Is it that A, Judy wants to get the mumps? B, Judy loves being sick and wants to convince her mom to let her stay home from school? C, Judy's mom wants Judy to get perfect attendance? Or D, Stink loves school and wants Judy to love it too? It is B. We learn that Judy loves being sick and wants to convince her mom to let her stay home from school. If you look back into our ideas that were being repeated, we saw the word sick over and over, and how much she talked about how much she loved being sick in paragraph 2. She was begging her mom in paragraph 30 to stay home. So it looks like the author is trying to teach us that Judy loves to be sick and wants to convince her mom to let her stay home from school. We are now ready to answer some questions, but before we answer some questions, let's review the thinking steps we learned this week. These thinking steps are going to help us use the text features to locate information effectively. So our first step is to read the question about the text. After we do step 1, we're going to be able to move on to step 2. And in step 2, we're going to circle keywords that will help you find the answer. In step 3, we're going to scan the text features for the keywords and the images. That means we're going to look in the text, in the title, in the photographs, the paragraph numbers to help us find our keywords. And then we can do step 4, which is to read around all of these circled keywords and images we found and be able to answer our question.